because this might be the inner chronicle of what we are, and we have to articulate ourselves, otherwise we would be cows in a field.
Welcome to Cows in the Field. This is a show in which we discuss philosophical themes in popular films. My name is Justin.
I'm Laura.
And today we're talking about Tim Allen's 1994 film, The Santa Claus.
It was the night before Christmas, and children were dreaming of the presents Santa would bring.
Somebody's on the roof.
But this Christmas Eve,
Hey, you!
the unthinkable happened.
You killed him.
Did not.
Now, this night,
If something should happen to me, put on my suit. The reindeer will know what to do.
it's up to them
Let's go!
to save the day. Together, Scott Kelvin and his son Charlie take on the biggest job in the world.
Looking good, Dad.
And though it has its dangers,
Nice teeth.
he thought it was just for one night.
You're the new Santa.
I am not Santa Claus.
You put on the suit, you're the big guy.
What if I don't buy into this Santa Claus thing?
Then there would be millions of disappointed children around the world.
He doesn't want the job,
It was a dream.
but it's growing on him.
I've gained 45 pounds in a week.
And welcoming back to the show for God knows what time. I'm sorry, I lost track.
That's okay.
Emily St. James. Emily is a writer on the show Yellow Jackets, a co-host of podcasts like It's, and the author of Woodworking, a new novel in stores now. Welcome back, Emily.
Hello, it's so good to be here. For my annual Christmas tradition.
That's right.
It is the fifth Christmas movie.
Fifth Christmas.
I believe so.
I at one time I did 4 or 5 shows. I was the annual Christmas guest on, and this is the last one standing. That's
Really?
the estimation.
We're going
Now
strong.
I have a
Wow.
toddler, so
I
yeah.
know. No, I feel really blessed
We are
about that.
blessed and honored.
Although I do think maybe we need to get this back on the rails because we were like, Justin's like, what did we talk about? I was like, we did. We've done Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yes.
It's
It's a Wonderful Life.
a Wonderful Life. Those were really strong starts.
Yep.
And then it was Fred Claus and all of the Grinches
Yep.
mixed
Yeah.
bag
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
And here we are at the Santa Claus.
I'm going to just be honest up front. I know this is a beloved movie for a lot of people, and we're going to have some fun things to talk about. I didn't really like it that much, which I was surprised. I had never seen it before. And my hot take is that I liked Fred Claus more than this movie, and I think it's actually a better movie. Anyway,
You
I
think
don't
it's a
know.
more coherent movie? Is
I
it
don't
a
know.
more likable movie?
I forgot that
moment
we
to
had even watched or
moment?
talked about Fred Claus, and I think I like it more than the Santa Claus, which is crazy. Anyway,
The problem with Fred Claus is that Fred Claus doesn't really dig into Santa mythology. For the purposes of this podcast, it invents its own Santa Claus mythology. So this at least gives us an opportunity to talk about Santa Claus as a philosophical construct and also body horror.
Yes.
So that feels
Yeah,
like
good.
we got a lot. Yeah.
That's right. That sounds good. Okay, laying it down there. Laura, why don't you tell us what happens in this movie?
Okay, I'll do my best. So, after toy company executive and divorcee Scott Calvin, got it? SC, like Santa Claus, he accidentally kills Santa Claus and ends up being forced through legal and magical means to become the next Santa Claus.
Yeah. Does he actually, just really quickly, I was thinking.
You're interrupting my summary.
He sort of does something which leads to Santa Claus's death.
Yeah,
right?
it's not. He
doesn't really
doesn't kill him. He has
Yeah.
a slippery roof,
Yeah.
and Santa died on his property.
That is true. Yes.
So, after their journey to the North Pole, Calvin's son Charlie is desperate to tell everybody that he can about their adventure, but no one believes him. This leads his mother to seek full custody of Calvin, full custody of Charlie,
yeah.
thinking that his father Scott is playing some trick on Charlie to endear him, because they have not had the best relationship up until now.
Right.
It's basically an entire movie thought up to fill out the idea. This is what Justin wrote, that Santa's
You're
last
just gonna read this
name
part? Yeah.
is a homonym for Claus, the legal word.
That's
Claus,
what it felt like to me,
Claus.
honestly.
It's a high concept film.
Yes.
And I enjoyed parts of it.
Emily, do you have anything to add to that summary of the film?
No, it's weirdly into questions of legal custody and law. Like I've noticed, I was watching this movie with an eye toward my old job at the AV Club many years ago, when we would be like, every year we'd be like, what's going to be our Christmas inventory, a list of things. And I was watching this and I was like, this is another movie where Santa gets arrested. He gets arrested so often. And like the cops are often the implicit villains of Santa Claus movies.
Because he's just trying to break into people's house.
Santa is ACAB.
As Margot would point out, like he's breaking and entering.
The villain of this movie is both the cops and the psychiatrists.
Psychiatrists, divorce attorneys, anybody trying to keep Scott Calvin down and like from living his life the way he wants to live it.
Yeah.
They're cracking down on the manosphere. They're just coming in hot.
Do you feel like maybe the people who wrote this had been going through a messy divorce and they're kind of mad about it?
Okay, there's a lot to talk about with the divorce stuff. We'll get there, but maybe we'll get there right now. Emily, I'm curious, like, you've already hinted a little bit at this, but like, what do you think this movie is about?
I think this movie's about aging. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, it kind of is. I think this movie is about what a lot of 90s family comedies are about, which is basically like this anxiety about dads who can't just like be, the just can't be just guys anymore. They have responsibilities. And so often their wives like divorce them and then get with other guys who are not as cool or awesome, but are like more responsible. And the question then becomes, how do you sort of balance those two pieces of yourself? How do you keep your child in your life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? This is a movie about like what it takes to be a good dad that sort of like is like, what if your dad was Santa Claus? Honestly, I see, this was a spec script before it became a Tim Allen movie. It sounds like the original script was a little bit darker, a little bit more tinged with some of the elements that haunt the edges of this story. And if I trace it in my screenwriter brain back, I absolutely would bet so much money that this started life from someone watching Miracle on 34th Street and being like, oh, here's a great premise. What if that Santa has a kid? What if he's divorced or whatever?
I just want to...
Did that jerk tell Charlie there was no Santa Claus?
What? No. Oh, Charlie came home from school the other day in tears because some big kid told him there was no such thing as Santa. And Neil, well, he sat him down and
told him that there was a Santa Claus.
Well, all he said was that Santa was more like a feeling, more like a state of mind than a person.
Kind of like Neil. And who gave you permission to tell Charlie there's no Santa Claus? I think if we're going to destroy our son's illusions, I should be a part of it.
Yeah, but you're never around, are you, Scott?
Oh, please.
Listen, all we are trying to do is give Charlie a firm grasp on reality.
That's a good idea. You don't want kids running around using their imaginations.
Oh, yeah, this is from the guy responsible for the do-it-all-for-you dolly.
Leave her out of this.
Don't you burp me, don't you change me.
Why do you guys always have to fight?
The thing that I locked in on with this movie, the thing that it most resonated with me, I guess, is the stuff about sort of the relationship between Scott and his son being based on a kind of mutual belief in each other in the face of a lot of gaslighting. And I thought that was kind of interesting. So, the idea that you could think of these people as like, in a way, they've undergone some, I don't know, it's not that they're survivors of a traumatic event, but it's as if they like encountered aliens. They came back, and then everyone was like, "There are no aliens. Like they're just gaslighting them. Like you're just making this up." And they in a way, like it's like the son's belief in what happened is what sustains Scott, and like brings them together. And I think there's something quite I don't know, powerful about that. I like that part of the movie. I like that, like that's the where their emotional bond comes from. It doesn't come from him being Santa Claus. I mean, a little bit, but it's more just like, no, I like believe you. I believe what happened to you. And like Scott is, trying to, of course, deal with that and the fallout of that in the fact that everyone thinks he's just trying to get custody of his kid. or whatever, endear himself to his kid.
He believes his father can be a better person. Like at the core of this is this idea of I'm a kid and my dad's kind of a piece of shit, but I think he can be better. And I see him through these eyes. He's the best guy in the world. He's Santa Claus.
Yeah.
What is kind of like troubling about this movie. There's only one thing. There's only one thing that's troubling about this movie, is that Scott doesn't actually have like any sort of redemption arc. He just abruptly starts behaving more like Santa Claus because he has the woke mind virus. Like it's just, he just is like, oh, suddenly I like to eat cookies. And if it was just that, it would be fine. But then he's like, I know how if all the children on the planet are good or bad. And you're like, he's not like growing or changing. Yeah. He's having change thrust upon him.
Yeah. I think the closest thing I can find to him changing in a way that is meaningful is oddly when he decides to kidnap his own son. So, it's like...
Well, Charlie, I guess I better go.
I'll get my stuff.
Wait. I think it's a much better idea if you stayed here with your mom.
I want to be with you, Dad.
Boy, I love hearing you say that.
You mean I can go?
He has this moment where they share a kind of embrace, and he like looks at him, and he realizes, I don't know, the way I read it is he realizes like the fact that his son believes in him and nobody else does is the foundation in some ways of their relationship moving forward, and like they should be together. And so I think, but then again, like that, so there's that moment, and then there's the moment, I don't know, whatever it would be, 4 weeks later, when on Christmas Day or Eve, he says, look, it was selfish of me to do that. Now you just should go back to your mom or whatever. And he kind of comes to recognize that, I don't know, he has to sort of share his son in this way. But like, he
has to co-parent.
He has to co-parent. It's so strange though, because of course he was very happy to do that before. And so it wasn't as if he was like, the way that other characters read him as like, he's just trying to steal his son away from these people who are totally sane and he is insane. It's so obviously wrong that like it's hard to see,
it is. I have this problem with a lot of Santa fiction, which is obviously it's aimed to exist within the child's conception of Santa, which is that Santa is real, but there's some kind of conspiracy to keep you to keep the knowledge down.
Yes.
It's not even like, well, I'm not talking like my kid's understanding of Santa, where her like understanding of reality is very malleable. I'm talking like, I have a friend who's 9-year-old. I think she was 9. Last year was like, oh, Santa's not real, and it was like a watershed moment for her. I'm talking about like the year before that, when like the doubt has truly settled in. But you're like, that's what these movies are. These movies are for like 7 and 8-year-olds basically, who are like on the edge but need explanations. These movies offer them. But the thing in every one of these movies is at the end, a whole bunch of people see Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And Bigfoot, if a whole bunch of people saw Bigfoot, like interacted with Bigfoot tomorrow, I think that most people would be like, that was either the greatest hoax in history or Bigfoot is real.
Yeah.
And what happens in every Santa movie is so many people interact with Santa, sometimes like in Elf, it's on television, and everyone is like, Santa's not real. It beggars belief, unless you think that Santa is a Christ figure. And after Christ returned from the dead, so many people did not believe until they were able to stick their fingers in his wounds or whatever. So that's what's happening here. Santa's Jesus, and we need to shove our fingers in his wounds.
I completely agree with all this. I do think, this was one of the strangest parts of this movie for me, which was that there's an abundance of evidence that Santa is real in this, and none of the adults think Santa is real. So
who brought that canoe?
Let me give
for
you
example, when you wake up in the morning.
That's the biggest part, is that he's going around delivering
I think
presents.
It's a kayak, but
and these presents are presumably, showing up randomly, and the adults recognize like that they're random presents that are being got that were told they were the very things the kids wanted that they didn't get their kids. Okay, that's one thing. The other thing is that, very small thing, but apparently, when you look at, I mean, I was kind of glancing around, but after it was prompted by reading something on the internet, but like every other kid in this has elf ears. So there's like all these elves sort of sprinkled throughout the general population.
Found that very
I think
confusing.
they live at the North Pole, but they have entered society for purposes of a psyop.
Yeah, exactly.
And they will return to the North Pole at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So there's like all these elves just like around with like little pointy elf ears. And I do think it's kind of, again, like kids are seeing Santa. That's fine. I think kids seeing Santa and nobody believing kids, that makes a lot of sense. And that's like the perfect sort of encapsulation of, I think, what it is like to feel like you're a kid, where you're like, you believe something and nobody believes you, but you saw it or whatever, But the fact that there's so much other sort of evidence for the children, for the adults, is what's puzzling to me. The movie tries to get around this by explaining why Laura and Neil don't believe in Santa. And their reason for not believing Santa is that they wanted a certain gift and Santa didn't bring it to them. And so I'm trying to figure out, like, so is this Santa like a capricious Santa, or were they genuinely naughty and that's why they didn't get their gifts?
This movie is so obsessed with explaining all of the things about Santa that don't make sense. And one of the things about Santa that doesn't make sense, again, when you're 7 or 8 years old, is I wanted this thing. I know that in theory, my parents were okay with me having it, because by then you figured out that like your parents have some sort of say. Like they're in constant conversation with Santa. Yeah. I mean, you guys are parents. I'm a parent. We're talking to Santa all the fucking time. And we're like, get a load of this kid. She wouldn't go to bed last night. Let's not give her so many great presents.
Yeah.
But then you don't get a thing and you're like, did Santa not hear that? Was I not good enough, etc.? And this movie doesn't really answer that, but then is also sort of like, well, it was bureaucracy.
Yes. That's sort of what I assumed, because
there.
like, how much turnover are we getting on these Santas? How often are they dying on roofs?
Yeah.
How many of them are resistant Santa Clauses, or, take some time like Scott Calvin, and like, maybe they didn't do a great job because it's their first year.
Oh, that's interesting.
Laura,
like.
I'm glad you asked, because there's an answer to this in the wider Santa Claus universe, which we can get into in a second.
Okay. Oh, I should say, didn't see 2 or 3, or Santa Clauses, the Disney Plus.
Okay, enlighten us, Emily, though. I'm curious.
Please tell me more.
The Santa Clauses, the 2-season Disney Plus television show, which stars Tim Allen and Elizabeth Mitchell, who's the female lead of 2 and 3, is about Santa Claus. Now he has a family. He and his wife have 2 other kids. Charlie pops in every so often. But in that TV show, they really like expand the mythology. So we learned that Scott is the 18th Santa.
Okay.
There have been 17 before him. And the one before him didn't die, but chose to Obi-Wan Kenobi himself and like cease to exist, because when Scott Calvin was a tiny child, he interacted with Santa at a department store or something and was like, Santa was like, this child is pure of heart.
No.
And this child will be Santa someday. I just have to wait for him to get to the right point, and then I will fall off his roof and appear to die. And it's so like, when you watch this film with that in mind, because all three of these films, like so much of these properties, so many of these properties revisit that moment when he falls off the roof. It's in 3, it's in Clauses, and it's just like, okay, like it's revisiting it like going through the Zapruder film frame by frame, and just like, what happened here? And so the Santa Clauses, which is so indicative of the Disney Plus era of Disney, where they're trying to sand off all the rough edges of everything people liked of theirs from the past. It is just so intent on making sure nobody is ever hurt or offended or whatever.
Wow.
Whatever's happening.
Because I feel like the appeal of this movie, if there is one, is that like Scott Calvin isn't like the chosen one. He's just some shitty dude who who has to become Santa.
Right. Like anyone.
That's what's so funny about watching this with the Santa Claus, because he's just like a shitty divorced dad.
He's supposed to be like nobody and cool, like raised nobody, but actually she's Palpatine's granddaughter.
Yeah, she is.
Justin didn't like
that. That's canon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is canon that Scott Calvin, despite being a piece of shit divorced dad, actually is so pure of heart that he was destined to become Santa Claus. It is not a random freak accident.
Emily, did you watch this TV show for us? Because I feel bad if you did more research than we did.
Well, no, I haven't watched the second season, which sounds truly bonkers. I forgot it existed. I watched the first season. My kid was a newborn. And so I just watched it because I was watching whatever.
Yeah.
And, while I was like feeding her or whatever. And I was like, I don't know why I'm still checking this out. But it, there's a lot of Santa lore in it. And then I refreshed my memory on Wikipedia because I was like, there's a lot of weird shit in that, right?
Yeah.
Believe me, there is.
So in 2, he has to get married, right? It's like Santa can't be without a Mrs. Claus.
In 2, there's a Mrs. Claus, which is a further extension of this film's clause, which is like, if you are not married at the time of... Now, here's an interesting tweak. If Justin killed Santa and put on the suit, Laura, you would be legally obligated to become Mrs. Claus.
What?
Like, you would have to work. You'd have to fight your way out of that.
Okay,
and
so then
does it work in the other direction? If Laura kills Santa Claus and grabs the thing, then I am Mrs. Claus?
I don't know. Like, this is something that they should explore in the Santa Claus.
I think they should.
Season 3. Yeah. They should hire me as head writer.
Let's do some swapping. I like it.
Well, there is the Disney Plus Anna Kendrick film Noelle, which is basically she wants to be the first Lady Santa.
I've heard of this.
I got to say, not a very good movie, but the outfits in that movie are like my aesthetic.
I was going to actually ask you, Laura, if you wanted to do a fashion spotlight, because Laura's fits on this are pretty awesome.
They're good.
Oh, yes.
And Neil's sweaters, too.
I kind of like Neil's sweaters.
Yeah.
They do a lot of dunking on the sweaters, but I think the sweaters are pretty good. Laura's vibe is very Justine from Heat.
Yes, she's yes, that's true. Yeah, is that her mid-90s vibe?
It's
she doesn't sort of
that
fit.
dark bob is the dark bob popping.
She doesn't fit in the like suburbs, like the way Justine fits in the dead tech postmodern
bullshit house. Yeah. Well, yes, it's true, but it does work for me that she's dating a psychiatrist with a goofy sweater collection.
Are they married? Are they married? Are they dating? Like their relationship status is never clear.
It's like he's definitely there for all the legal stuff, but I thought they were just dating and not married.
I don't know.
But maybe they're married. I don't know. Is he? How does he? So if you're divorced, then then there's no like Mrs. Claus, Mrs. Claus. Like they're completely out of the Claus franchise.
Yeah. The North Pole has always been progressive enough to say if you are divorced and no longer in a bad marriage, your wife is not obligated to. Yeah. That is an interesting question. What if a woman kills Santa Claus? Yeah. So say I kill Santa. Am I forcibly detransitioned into Santa? Because it's like the one scenario in which I could see being okay with that. Right. But like,
you do get the beard.
I would like to live at the North Pole. I think that would be fun.
What do you think of the North Pole design?
That's a good question.
Yeah. This is weird because, again, I'm applying knowledge from future installments in the franchise.
Yeah, you can't help
where the North Pole is like more realized.
Okay.
Here they're at it so rarely that it kind of is just like a gloss. But I love that. I do love that like classic mid-20th century children's book illustration North Pole.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, here's the, the central hangar and here's the elves in the workshop. This movie isn't really like innovating in any way. Certainly not as we see in the Santa Clauses, where the North Pole is the main location that they revisit. Mm-hmm. It's the bar from Cheers. But I like it. I think my favorite scene in this movie, by which I mean the scene I find the most, oh, come on, is when they're all dancing to ZZ Top in the hallways of the North Pole.
The slow walk.
Yeah. When I say favorite, I don't mean that I like it.
Yeah.
I mean that I like just like it sticks in my brain.
I do have a favorite moment, which is when he goes into the elves show him into his bedroom and he's checking it out. And there's, for some reason,
Yes.
two
Yes.
puppets that are just
Like a Punch
chattering
and
away.
Judy.
And then he takes his pants off and they scream. They go, ah!
Do you think he eventually gets used to having puppets jabbering all the
I
time?
know. While you're trying to
But the
sleep.
train and the puppets, I was like, this is raucous. Like, I don't know. Dustin even said, he's like, I don't know how Charlie's asleep right now. Like,
Yeah,
most
Charlie
exciting night of his
immediately
life.
goes to sleep.
He just nestles right in. Also, he spends a lot of time with his pants off in this movie. Or
Yes,
makes,
it's true.
he's in his boxers for, I don't know, 30 minutes.
The North Pole has soporific effects. We all know this.
Yes. He drank
it's
some of
interesting.
that hot chocolate, just knocked him out.
The second movie, I'm not someone who goes that it's better than the first, as some people I know do, but there's like a middle portion of it that is like a legitimately kind of like good short film about being a woman in your late 30s and dating. like not being able to like find the right guy. And it is like kind of a legitimately sweet story about two divorcees realizing like they have a connection, they have a bond, and then one of them reveals he's Santa Claus and she has to marry him in 27 days. And that like part of the movie is kind of good. And then the rest of it's a mess because they have to set up this whole premise. But like doing a rom-com with Santa is kind of a smart idea.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, I got on that train of thought because I was like, if you were dating a man and he took you home and there was a puppet show constantly going.
I mean, I did have this question, so maybe Emily, you can sort of fill me in here, but it's just that, okay, so everyone in Scott's orbit, I mean, I don't know if his coworkers, but his family, including his son, know he's Santa Claus. So
Yes.
like, what do you do now? I mean, if I'm imagining what happens next, and I haven't seen the other movies, I would think the more this information gets out, the more people you would effectively be treated as some sort of demigod. Like you have all these mystical powers. And okay,
yeah.
so no, so I mean, I guess you're put on trial like in Miracle on 34th Street, but like what should happen here?
So the second one, the inciting incident of the second film is that Charlie is now older. He's like a teenager and he's now on the naughty list. And it turns out he's on the naughty list because he's acting out because he can't tell everyone his dad is Santa Claus.
I see.
Like it's a big secret.
I see.
But yeah, it is like, this is the thing with also Elf, a movie I substantially prefer to this. But at the end of that movie, it's like, yeah, Elf is real. I know all the North Pole secrets. I can tell everyone. And granted, in that film, he tells everyone in the form of a children's book, which like is societally acceptable. But, you know, everybody does see Santa Claus fly over Central Park in that movie. It was broadcast on television in New York City.
Yeah.
Watching Santa Claus was the first time I ever had like seriously contemplated how AI video is just going to fuck us over because it's like, you know, soon it will be trivially easy to fake footage of Santa Claus and it's going to just like destroy so many children's brains.
Well, so I was thinking about another aspect of the Santa Claus myth and why it's always about like believe and grown-ups don't believe and sustaining this sort of idea that there's more to the world and embrace the mystery. And I was sort of thinking that I a few months ago I read this lovely essay by Freud called "Civilization and Its Discontents," which I think is actually helpful for understanding, I think, a little bit about the mindset of a lot of Trump supporters now. But in it, he basically argues that, like, you know, technology and science have progressed to a point beyond which, you know, we there's no mystery left in the world. Like, everything is basically understood. We have kind of control over the natural world in a way that we never had before. And then people just sort of took it for granted, you know? And I think that helps to explain a little bit about the motivation behind conspiracy theories and that sort of thing, which is like an attempt to rescue mystery and to find the unknown again in this world. And Santa Claus is a bit like that too, I guess, in some sense. It's like, you know, we progress in each individually, we progressed from a kind of childlike wonder at the world to a sort of jaded cynicism of like, well, we know everything, and obviously we know this doesn't exist. And I think there's this desire, even in adults, to like return to the kind of, the sort of limited mindset of a child as somebody for whom there genuinely could be magic or mystery. And the problem, though, is that it is a kind of self-defeating goal, because as soon as you encounter the thing, it's no longer mysterious. Like, as soon as you see Santa Claus and you're like, oh, there really is a guy who does these things, eventually that will become just normalized, and you'll just be like, well, okay, so there are some people who, who just have these special powers, and that's just how it is. Like, it's no longer mysterious and exciting and magical. So I do wonder if, like, I don't know, there's this sort of paradox of like that desire, and it does feel like that's partly maybe explaining why these movies are fundamentally have this tension in them, because it's like, there is no way to really square that circle. Once it's revealed, it just is what it is. And so you have to kind of keep it always out of view, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, Santa is an extension of Christianity.
Yeah.
And like, this is the thing we don't, a lot of Christians perceive Santa as being in competition with Christ for like attention at Christmas time. But so much of what is true about the Santa mythos is that it is kind of a gloss on like how Christianity teaches you to think about Jesus, which is this unbelievable thing happened, but you just have to believe that it happened. And other faith traditions have things like this. Like, Christianity is not unique. Christianity is just the dominant cultural force in Western Europe and the United States, and so when we think about, the approaching the idea of Christ died, Christ was resurrected, of course you can be Thomas and have to like meet Jesus post-death to like actually believe. But the New Testament avers that what's more important is to believe without seeing.
Yeah.
And Santa's just like priming the pump for that.
Yeah.
Except now that Christianity is a less dominant force, but Christmas is like as strong as it's ever been. So they're gradually becoming decoupled. Like, they will not be ever probably totally be decoupled, and certainly they won't be within our lifetimes. But like, we are reaching a point where Christmas and Christianity are just going to kind of like diverge. So all this stuff is still attached to Santa, but it doesn't really have the religious parallel.
Yes.
So now it just kind of feels like it's in a vacuum, and you're just supposed to believe in this thing for the sake of believing in it.
Yeah. Well, but I think this is also what you get the same thing with like the decreasing numbers of people who believe in God or regularly attend organized religion. And I used to think, well, that's great. It's great to have people be a little bit more rational and so on. But like, the flip side of it is now you get all these maniacs out there who are quote unquote doing their own research on things and not trusting actual experts. And I think maybe there's a balance here to have, which is we need some degree of a kind of faith, so to speak, in institutional things that are bigger than any one individual, but at the same time, have how to balance that with like these institutions many of which, I won't say all, but many of these organized religion institutions are rife with very happy to exploit their followers belief, and so
I was going to make a joke about who's the RFK Jr. of Santa.
Yeah,
where, like,
exactly.
like Santa's like an expert at gift giving and like toy construction. Who's the guy who's like, I think I know better, Santa? It's like, who's that person
in this movie or in the Santa universe?
in real life?
Yeah.
And then I like actually realized one of the first areas in which we sort of outsourced human interaction to a machine was probably in the late 90s, early 2000s. You could build a gift list for yourself online that was so exact in its specifications. Certainly people have always told others, this is what I want for Christmas, this is what I want for my birthday, whatever. But now you could just like put a thing and someone could just go buy it.
Yeah.
They didn't have to go out and get it. And like, the human interaction used to be, I go out to buy my kids something and I decide that maybe she would prefer this color. And then she gets so mad because she wanted the other color.
Yeah.
But like, that element of it just really like, it went away.
Yeah.
And it does. I was thinking about this the other day because people keep asking me what I want for Christmas. And so, I'm giving them sort of rough ideas. And I just was like, what I really want is to say, I need a new shoulder bag, and just have someone get one they think would be perfect for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they're wrong, but people don't want that anymore. Now people want go do your own research.
Yeah.
Pick out the one you like. And I'm in my 40s. I can do my own research. But there is something a little sad about that to me.
Mm-hmm.
In a weird way. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I completely agree. No, there's nothing interactive about just like, here's what I want, go buy it. Anyone could have bought that for me. And I think that's part of what is so, I could have bought it for me. So
it's essentially just like, give me money for me to have the thing that I want.
Yeah, it's like, it's just, you are a fungible asset to me, right? If Laura doesn't get it for me, my mom will get it for me. Or if she doesn't get it for me, someone else will get it for me. Anyone can go, who has got the list can get it for me. There's nothing about it coming from this person.
There's also like risk and excitement in giving somebody a present that they aren't anticipating or don't know what it is, and like they might not love it or they might love it. But like, I just watched somebody give a Christmas present, a birthday present last week, and the gifter was so excited for the giftee to open it because they had found something that they thought was perfect for her. And like, she was like, the gifter was like jumping out of her seat. She's like, open it, open it, open it, open it. She was so excited, and like, and that it's just, me being like, I got this off your Amazon list. It's
meaningless.
My kid is 3 now, so she kind of has like a concept of these things. And I recently had my birthday, and we were visiting my family in Michigan for my birthday. And so Libby and my kid went out to the big bookstore in Grand Rapids, Michigan, Schuler Books. And Libby was like, okay, pick out something for Mama. And so my kid picked out an ornament of a Christmas tree, like a little stuffed ornament. Randomly a graphic illustrated version of Watership Down from the Netflix TV series.
Okay.
I don't know how she landed on that, but she saw the bunnies, I guess.
Bunnies, yeah.
And then she turned to my wife and said, I want to get Mama a balloon.
Oh.
So we later had to go somewhere else. And so they got me a helium balloon of Bluey, which then my daughter mostly played with.
Sure.
But like, it was like, she was like, I know what Mama needs, a balloon. And like, that was so touching to me in a way that like Libby just buying something and putting the kid's name on it would still be cute because I could open it and the kid could be like, this is for me. But yeah, I remember being very young and giving gifts and like really trying to think of a thing that someone would like. And, it just feels a little more impersonal now. And I do wonder if like, part of the Santa story was always supposed to be that, he knew you better than you did, and he knew that you needed this toy or whatever. And that has largely fallen away.
Yeah.
It's now just like Santa gives you what you want.
Yeah.
In a very similar fashion, again, to how evangelical Christians treat God, where it's like, oh, God is a slot machine. And if you're nice, he'll give you what you want.
Yeah. That's right. He's a slot machine. I feel like this movie has a lot of interesting threads that don't really go anywhere. And just to give you a couple examples of things that I thought were kind of funny. So Scott Calvin works at a toy design company. And the movie is like, yeah, he's like Santa Claus, right? He makes toys for kids. And to your point, Emily, he makes toys like, the toy designers are in this interesting position where they're like, we know what kids want. We're going to give them what, we know them better than they know themselves. We're going to give them these toys. But then this doesn't really go anywhere. Like it's never really, except for they go to this boardroom scene where they're designing sort of tank sleigh, and maybe you get the kind of, sort of funny, like back and forth about that. It doesn't become part of the tension of the film. It's never really unpacked or explored. Even at the beginning when he gives the speech, I thought maybe, he's going to say something which will be sort of resonant for later in the speech. But
no, he's just like, that secretary sitting on the guy's lap.
Yeah, he just points out the sexual harassment that's happening.
The scene with the Santa ad, where he's like mad that Santa's in a tank or whatever, is so funny to me because it's just like 90% of online discussions about like nerd properties now, where someone's like, well, Santa would never do that. You know, he's so like angry and religious about it.
I mean, it is absurd. I mean, the whole idea is that Santa brings you presents. Like, why the fuck is he sitting in a tank? Who is he killing? I have to be, you know, I think I'm on Scott Calvin's side on this one, but still, it is like, you know, my favorite part of that. I'll just say this: my favorite part of that scene is they're prepping everyone. They're like, all right, we got the new Santa toy or whatever, and they cut back. Scott Calvin has this huge grin on his face. He's like bouncing up and down in his chair. Very funny. What about? Okay, actually, let me ask you this: what about the Tim Allen of it all, Emily? Where are you on Tim Allen? What's your views on him as an actor?
Did you watch a lot of Home Improvement?
Are you a Home Improvement fan?
Well, as we all know, I love Tim Allen and agree with all his stances on everything.
Obviously.
Sure.
Yeah. I actually have met and talked to Tim Allen several times.
Very nice.
Really?
On both sides of my transition. He's always been very polite to me. You know, I get the sense of him as a Trump conservative who nevertheless kind of like lives in that space of 90s Republicanism.
Yeah.
That is like, you know, kind of dismissive of diversity, but also like wants to be nice and wants to be perceived as being nice, and therefore like will make a sop toward, for instance, calling me with the right name and pronouns. Whereas a lot of conservatism now is, you know, just angry ranting.
Yeah.
So I probably because he works in Hollywood, he's always been very polite to me. Tim Allen, come on the pod. What'd you guys talk about with Tim Allen? You guys should talk about Sallow with Tim Allen.
Yeah, that sounds good. I thought he was, so I don't have any experience with Tim Allen as an actor.
This is crazy to me.
I never watched Home Improvement.
Home Improvement was like appointment television in my family when I was a kid.
What was the, I mean, I had seen some of his movies, but he's completely foreign to me. I honestly, like, I don't even know if I could recognize him before watching this movie 2 nights ago.
He looks like Santa Claus.
He does, yes. Well, as he gets, I liked I thought the makeup was pretty good actually. But I thought he was good in the movie. I think he's better when he's not going big, and I think he feels the need to go sort of big and be sort of goofy. But I felt like he was at his best in this film, at least, when he was just having a little conversation with his son, Charlie. You know, I think when he was talking to Charlie about believing in Santa Claus, as you know, as he was putting him to bed, and he just sort of, you know, lying about believing in Santa Claus. I thought that was all really funny and sort of restrained and naturalistic. I don't know, I liked it. But Laura, you have a bigger history with Tim Allen.
Yeah, tell me your Tim Allen thoughts, because I like have a huge personal relationship with Tim Allen beyond the fact that we're besties.
Okay, I don't have a huge personal. I think it's like Home Improvement, as I said, was like appointment television in my house. Like it was beloved. I think though, especially with my dad. I think my dad really liked that character, Tim Allen's character in Home Improvement, and like related to his like, I'm a man in like a rising upper middle class set up, and like I'm not super in touch with my feelings, but I'm trying to do the family man thing. Like I think that like my dad thought that was like hilarious. I don't like it was, but we watched it. I feel like I've spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of my life with Tim Allen. I was there because JTT was cute, but my dad was there because, you know, I think like he really related to Tim Allen.
The plight of the middle class white man.
Yeah, there's like a lot of like with Jill being like, oh, you're not being very sensitive. And he's like, I have to be sensitive. He makes that make funny noise. And then he learns his lesson, and then they all hug at the end. I don't know. Like, I think he does quite well in this role. I think he fits it. I thought it was written for him because for some reason I feel like which apparently is not the case, but I feel like this was like Tim Allen. He plays your average, not so impressive middle-class white guy who's just trying to like figure it out.
I think Tim Allen has been a legitimately very good actor in a few things. I think he's very good in the Toy Story movies.
Yeah.
The whole cast of those is very good, generally speaking. But he and Tom Hanks have a real like chemistry in those films. I think he's extremely good in Galaxy Quest. I think that's probably his best work on screen. He's having so much fun in that film. I do think he's pretty good here. Like, I don't think he's great. I similarly watched Home Improvement every week.
Okay.
Until my father decided that we couldn't watch it anymore because the dad was too often wrong. And it should be a show where the dad was always right.
That's interesting. My dad has also had that objection to the Berenstain Bears. And that was the thing where he was like, there was one in the book in the Berenstain Bears series where the mom overreacted and the dad was the calm one and the reasonable one. And my dad was like, I'm only going to read that one now because I'm like tired of the dad being a buffoon. But I feel like in Home Improvement, like he's wrong, but like he's still like the hero of that show as it's conceptualized. But that's interesting.
It is I was sort of reading a thing this morning about how many conservative men now are like, is it gay to love your wife? And like that's the joke. That's the joke. But like it is because quite literally, it is because they conceive of manhood as a sort of dominance.
Yeah.
As, if you are in a equal partnership with your wife and you are a man, that is not on some level heterosexual to them because you are like giving her too much status. And that was ultimately like the objection my father had to this program is that on Home Improvement, Tim like has to learn lessons from
Jill
his
gives
wife.
him the what for sometimes.
Yeah. And like he has to listen to her and learn and like get over his emotions. And the thing is, I don't know that there's any, I don't know that show perceived itself as having like a broad message about manhood or what men have to do. It's just good storytelling to have a character like have a mistaken idea and then, have to come around to realizing they were wrong. That's just the effective plot of 99% of sitcom episodes.
Yeah.
But, I guess in my father's mind, it should have been that every episode Jill realized she was wrong, but then she would have had to be the protagonist.
And she's not. Yeah.
And she's not. And if she was the protagonist, we never would have watched that show, because we didn't watch Roseanne or whatever. It really does feel like, it really feels like that was his main objection. We've gone on a weird tangent about
but this is interesting, like how our family, like how the male figures in our family sort of like process narrative and how it reflected on them as men and caretakers and fathers.
But watching this movie, it is sort of fun to see the Home Improvement isms or the Tim Allen stand up where he like goes, like that.
He's got to make the noises.
Yeah, but also like it is trying to break from his persona, but like he was legitimately a movie star for a while there. And it does feel like this movie's a very conscious, I'm going to take one step toward, being a different guy from my TV persona,
Yeah, totally. Which Santa power would you want to have? So a couple examples here. His body changes in various ways. So you could have the forever growing beard, the white hair,
rosy cheeks.
You could have the insatiable love of sweets and red clothes. Access, I would say, this is a power or an ability at least. Access to the North Pole, at least from Thanksgiving until Christmas, and whatever elf gadgetry they make up. The ability to fly a sleigh and command the reindeer. By the way, I did think the reindeer were great. I love that they were puppets for anytime like they have the close up of the
anytime they fart and respond to his various
ability to know anyone's identity and to have the responsibility of judging them naughty or nice. So he was, because we have that scene where he's walking down the street and he's like Jill, nice. Jane, very nice. Great. And then I guess I this is not a comprehensive list, but I did think this is a real power, ability to float up and down chimneys of any size. So basically, the ability to break and enter any house. That would be a final power that I was thinking of.
Listen, Santa Claus is what peak masculinity looks like. It just is.
Just enter any space.
Yeah.
Yeah, undetected. Though you are delivering things. I don't know. He's like a glorified Amazon driver now, but yeah.
That's another thing that always this is totally a side quest, but this is another thing that always happens in these movies is a child is sleeping by the tree and they wake up and see Santa and interact with Santa and then go back to sleep. And granted, if you're big non-belief, trying to keep belief in Santa down, that's an easy story to discredit.
Yes.
But you'd think that would be common enough that, again, Santa would be like Bigfoot. We would have people in their adulthood be like, no, I saw the man. I saw him when I was 7, you know? And we don't have that. We don't have that.
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm trying to do is poke holes in a story that intentionally exists to have holes poked in it so children can learn something about skepticism and belief.
That would have been a good Santa Claus 2 or 3. Is like we learned that there's a whole sort of subgroup of like it's like AA but for Santa truthers, and they all get together and share their stories. And
Justin, that girl comes back in the Santa Clauses. She's played by Casey Wilson. It's like the whole plot.
Oh my! The girl who thinks he tells us he's lactose intolerant.
Yeah. And I don't think she's in like a Santa's Anonymous, but she did I remember interacting with Santa. It's like a whole thing. Yeah.
Wow. They really.
Okay, well, they thought of
watch
everything.
The Santa Clauses.
I guess so. I know Casey Wilson was involved later on because I know she didn't have the best on-set experience. I had heard that with Tim Allen, but
don't watch it.
Okay.
No, I think he was just very rude to her. It wasn't anything beyond that. But
I see.
Well, do watch it, but like fold your arms.
But I will.
Yeah.
I will. Thank you, Emily. I guess I would enjoy access to the North Pole. I don't know that I want to not have have control over my facial hair growing all the time. That sounds tricky. But I do think I liked, this is a very small part of the movie, but I did kind of enjoy when the moment where that was after the slow ZZ Top walk, but they've got the various gadgets. They put him in the fireproof suit.
That was before, I think, because then he's wearing it.
And then he's wearing it. Okay, they put him in the fireproof suit and he keeps asking but what happens if I fall off the roof?
Yeah.
But I think that would be fun. That's a fun area. I would like to hang out at the North Pole and maybe
children.
Maybe develop some gadgetry. I do already have a Santa Claus superpower, which is that children come and sit on my lap.
That is true. Laura kind of is the Santa Claus of our neighborhood.
Hey, that's great. That's good. I
too am weirding people out at soccer games.
Yeah. Better to have children inherently trust someone who is trustworthy than, someone I see all the children trying to sit on Tim Allen's lap and I'm like, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah.
I would love, this is no secret to anyone. I would love access to the North Pole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually being Santa Claus would probably give me intense gender dysphoria, but might give me holiday euphoria. And I wonder if they would cancel each other out. This is an interesting question. If I, a trans woman, become Santa Claus, does the mind wiping portion of the Santa virus that enters your body, does that make me be okay with it? Yeah. I guess it must. I don't know. I have this dream fan fiction in my brain that I will never write. That is Moby Dick, but in the Santa Claus universe, and it's trans masculine Ahab and trans feminine Starbuck and their crew. And they're hunting an anti-trans dystopia to hunt and kill Santa Claus and his wife so they can facilitate their transitions. I think it would be great. I should write it, but I never will. It is the kind of thing where I think it would make a great movie, and Disney should let me make Santa Claus's season 3 about a trans man trying to kill Tim Allen.
Yeah.
What Santa superpower would you like?
Maybe flight. I think flying around in the
in the sleigh would be fun.
Would be kind of fun.
If you have to go all the way around the world and do like a massive amount of work on an endless night, does that like make it? Because it just seems like a lot to me. I'm
like
lazy.
that they're like, yeah, it's like something about the space-time continuum or whatever. And so like he's explaining to Neil when Neil's like, well, how does he get all over the?
Yeah.
And but the interesting thing with that is that he would not even if. So it's like if you go faster than the speed of light, to you, time is going the same speed. It's not like
that would still take you like a couple years,
like a lifetime,
right? To do it all,
yeah.
And then you and then you just wake up the next morning,
yeah,
and
then
like,
you've lived a whole life.
Yeah.
That said, though, if you can live that whole life but not have any of the repercussions of having that is you don't age during that period of time, that would actually be kind of cool. I mean, that is the plot of Inception. Right, you go into the dream and you live like out lives and lives and lives.
But you have to do a lot of work. Like you can't just like in Inception. They're like, wouldn't it be cool if we lived in an old style house, but it was in a like a high rise? Let's just play with that.
Yeah,
but you have to like go to 4 billion houses.
I guess. But if you are someone who wants to see how people are when they're sleeping, then you're great. You get a lot of fun. Peeping.
I did want to ask, what was you two's relationship with Santa as children? Like, did you have a Santa belief phase?
Yeah.
Justin, did it end immediately?
I did have a Santa belief phase.
Justin came out a skeptic from the womb.
No. I believed. I wanted to believe more than I believed, but I sort of willed myself to believe it. But I don't remember when I stopped. So that means I probably stopped believing at a very young age.
I don't remember either. What I do remember is that when I was older, like 3rd or 4th grade, and my sister was on that edge. She figured it out. I mean, I probably wasn't that subtle about it as an older sister. And then, but Dee was like, I'll just keep this up because I want to try and get more stuff out of it.
Yeah.
So like she would do the thing of like, I want the easy bake oven. My mom would say that's too expensive. And Diana would say, Santa could get it for me. Santa's magic. To which my mom, I remember it this way. We're like late for gymnastics or whatever. We're piling into the car. Diana says something offhand like, well, Santa will do it for me, even if you won't. And mom just goes, Santa's not real and you know it.
Well, let me throw it back to you, Emily, but with a twist. So suppose your kid comes to you, which I think this may happen to us soon. It kind of
already has actually,
sense, and asks you point blank, "Is Santa real?" Like, what would you say? And because this is a question that has been on our mind recently.
We actually have had already a conversation with our kid about this because she is so scared of Santa Claus media.
Yeah.
She will see, like, she loves pictures of Santa. She likes the idea of Santa, but then she'll like see him in motion and be so scared. And so the other day we were like, Santa's not real. He's more of an idea. Now she's 3. Will this stick with her? I don't know. But when I was 3, I don't know if I went through the same thing because she and I have a lot of similar personality traits at that age. She's really scared of things, and I was really scared of things. And but I remember when I was 3, my parents told me that Santa was my dad. Which was like an attempt to say that, we're, your dad is Santa and your mom is Mrs. Claus because they're the ones giving you the presents. Right. And it's a fun thing to believe in, and which my brain interpreted as, oh, okay, well, okay, fine. So I know who Santa is now.
Okay.
But like, I very swiftly stopped. I grew up in an evangelical Christian household. So Santa was sort of like, loosely accepted, but like I did not actually believe in him. It was more like, what a fun little story for the kids. And that's kind of how but I love the Santa mythos, and I always have. I like there part of me would really love to like write a classic Christmas movie with Santa in it, because I think he's a fun concept and a fun character, and the world building around him. I was thinking about the Oz books, some of my favorites, the L. Frank Baum Oz books, and L. Frank Baum also wrote a Santa Claus book is kind of awful, but just like bonkers L. Frank Baum stuff where he's like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and what do you think about that? But one of the things that's powerful about Oz is that there's a lot of like threadbare patches around the edges of its world building. And that's kind of the case with Santa, where any attempt to drill down into it like this, like Elf, inevitably ends up inspiring so many questions that you kind of have to go back to. Well, he lives at the North Pole. And you're like, well, what about climate change? What happens when the North Pole is devoid of ice? And you're like, it'll be fine.
How do reindeer fly? They don't have any wings.
Fairy dust?
That's from Peter Pan, Dad.
Horns.
Antlers.
Whatever. Their antlers give them, there's a slipstream effect. The air if they move fast, they're weightless.
But if Santa's so fat, how does he get down the chimneys?
He sucks it in like Grandpa.
But what about people who don't have fireplaces? How does he get into their house?
Charlie, sometimes believing in something means you just believe in it. Santa uses reindeer to fly because that's how he has to get around.
But you do believe in Santa, right, Dad?
Of course I believe in Santa. Please go to sleep.
Emily, thank you again for joining us to talk Christmas for the fifth year in a row. We're going strong. Where can people buy your book, watch your TV show, listen to your podcast?
Yeah. First of all, I think that we need to pre-plan what we're going to do next year.
I agree.
Yes.
Because actually, next year, I'm ideally publishing a novel.
Yeah.
That it takes sort of Little Women as its inspiration. So, and Little Women is now Christmas media. Like we've just sort of been like, well, there's a Christmas scene in it. So maybe we should just do that.
Let's do that.
But maybe maybe I'll be so
Women?
fucking sick of talking about Little Women.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Well, we'll give you
We'll
wiggle
touch
room on
base.
that. We won't make you for. But out of curiosity, I mean, is there a special Little Women movie for you? Because I watched a lot of the Winona Ryder one as a kid, but
I love 1994.
Yeah.
I talked about this the other day on Blue Ski. I was like 1995. I prefer 1994 to 2019.
Yeah.
There's a thing about Greta Gerwig I can never entirely latch onto. I preferred Barbie to Little Women and Little Women to Lady Bird, so she's like getting better for me, but I can never entirely lock into what she's doing. But also I think the 1994 Little Women is one of like three things I have nostalgia for. So, I've always preferred that one. I have been thinking about, because I have to do revisions on the book in January, I've been thinking about spending the holidays just watching all the movie versions of Little Women, because the book ultimately doesn't have that much to do with Little Women, but like does have to like be grounded in it in a weird way. But yeah, so we could just do that, or we could do, I thought of one that would be perfect the other day, where I was like, that's one I'd love to talk about with y'all. But now I'm blanking on it. It was it was one of the weird ones.
One of the weird
ones. We
Okay.
got to do a Rankin Bass at some point. Those are so fucking strange.
Okay, and yeah, we'll figure it out. We don't have to figure it out on Mike, because then we'll be pod committed for a year from now.
It's that we've never done a Christmas Carol. We've never done
That's true.
a single Christmas
Any of
Carol,
the
and
Christmas
maybe
carols,
that's what we do for the series finale.
I mean,
but
It's a Wonderful Life is its own kind of Christmas carol-y thing.
Yes.
But yes.
It was. I'm working on a book on It's a Wonderful Life too.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just revisit that.
Yeah, just redux.
Just do it again. Yeah.
And okay, so let's talk about books first. Woodworking.
Yeah.
It's out now. It's been on a number of the top lists of the year. So people should check it out. Buy it.
I always have it right here, so I can hold it up on microphone in the audio medium that I routinely appear.
Right. Yeah.
in. It's it's out. It's on the best books of the year list from like NPR.
Yeah.
And Vox and Spotify. Spotify audiobooks. So that's like you could never be sure if it's me or the actor.
Did you do who did the audio? Did you do the audiobook or
the audio is L. Morgan Lee reads the Erica chapters. She's a Tony nominee. She's fantastic. Saoirse Nahulahan, who was in Arden, my podcast, she reads as Olivia in season 2. She reads the Abigail chapters, and then there's a secret third chapter that I read. That was because we didn't have the money to hire another actor, and I was like, well, I'll do it. And if you listen to it, like I'm not going to say that I'm bad. I'm like pretty good at reading my own book, but you listen to it and you're like, oh, that's why they're actors and Emily is a writer. But yeah, you can. It's about a trans woman who comes out at 35. And she lives in Mitchell, South Dakota. So the only other trans person she knows is one of her students. It's about kind of the unusual friendship that develops between them. It's set in the build up to the 2016 election. Everything I've described, people hear that description and are like, well, that sounds sad, but I promise you, it's quite funny.
It's really funny.
There's a lot of jokes in it. I was rereading it, parts of it last night, because I was kind of stymied on something on the new book where I was like, well, how did I handle this in woodworking? And I went and reread it, and I'm always so amused by Abigail, the high school student, and which sounds like I'm pumping myself up, but like it genuinely does. So much of what she says is like taken from the specific voice of a friend of mine, and so it's not like these are things she said that I wrote in the book, but these are things that like came to mind in her voice. So it almost feels like they're coming from a separate person. But anyway, Woodworking is out everywhere. It's in hardback right now. It's in ebook and audiobook form. Extremely critically acclaimed audiobook form.
That's right. That's right.
And you can buy the paperback. You can pre-order it. That's out in May. If you just feel like carrying a version, you can bend like this and like that. Yeah. What else do I do?
The TV show is Yellow Jackets.
Yellow Jackets, season 3. I wrote on season 3, which you can watch currently on Paramount Plus with Showtime. I don't know if that's what it's still called, but like it's like it's an additional tier of Paramount Plus. You got to climb that mountain. So I think the first 2 seasons are on Netflix, and I'm sure season 3 will join shortly before season 4 debuts. I'm currently in the room on season 4, which will be the last season. I think people will really love what we're cooking up. Obviously, I have no control over that, but I think the fans will be pleased.
Good.
I also have a newsletter which you can find at episodes.ghost.io. Which I co-edit and run with my dear friend and colleague and a wonderful critic in her own right, Lily Osler. And
podcast like it's.
Podcast
so
like
many
it's.
things. Podcast like
that's the one that doesn't pay me, so I forget it. It's last. No, Podcast like it's, which I do with my friend Phil Iskov. We're talking about the films of the 2000s. This is coming out the 19th.
Yep.
We just dropped an episode on In Bruges. Our last 3 weeks, we've been doing an informal miniseries called It's Christmas and the Boys Are Sad, which is about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Catch Me If You Can, and In Bruges. And in the new year, we will be starting off the new year with a bang with Pixar in the 2000s, which y'all will be appearing there. Though I won't say which film.
Okay, we'll keep it a secret. Thank you so much, Emily. And we are at Cows Pod on all those various social media sites. Please find us there and rate and review, subscribe. In 2 weeks, we will be doing a reprise episode. I've decided that will be Tenet. So we're rolling it back. Tenet. It's just gonna be a replay of Tenet, and then after that, we're gonna do We're gonna do Body Heat, and then we're gonna do several 2025 movies. We've got some fun guest book for those, so tune in for that. And thanks everyone. Okay, guys. Hey, it's Justin from the future. So we're gonna have a little bit of a change of schedule for Cows. In light of the tragic death of Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Reiner, which happened after our recording here with Emily, we decided that it might be nice to cover a movie we've been wanting to cover for a long time, but just haven't got to it, When Harry Met Sally. And we thought maybe it'd be nice to do that for New Year's. So on January 2nd, in 2 weeks, we will have an episode on When Harry Met Sally. After that, we've already recorded a really fun episode on Body Heat with Alex Kugelman, who is the writer-director of a new film, Don't Trip, which you guys should check out. It's streaming now on Tubi. And then I think after that, we'll do our Tenet replay, and then we're going to do some 2025 films. So that's just a heads up on the schedule, and I hope everyone is enjoying the show. So we'll see you back here in 2 weeks with When Harry Met Sally. Bye.